There's a moment, and maybe you've felt it, when you catch your own reflection in the mirror, and you barely recognize the person staring back at you. It's not that your face has changed, it's that your eyes feel different. They used to carry light, but now they hold a heaviness that you can't quite explain. It's the weight of having given so much of yourself physically, emotionally, mentally to someone, only to be left with this quiet, aching emptiness. And maybe you don't even know where you end and where they began anymore. You didn't go into it thinking, I'm going to lose myself here. You went in because it felt real, it felt safe. You believed in the connection, in the late night conversations, in the way they made you feel seen. You trusted them with parts of you that you don't just hand over to anyone. Your body, your secrets, your laughter, your fears. And when they reached for you, you didn't hold back. Because that's who you are, someone who loves with your whole heart. Someone who doesn't do things half. But here's the thing no one warns you about. When you give everything without keeping anything back for yourself, when you build your emotional world around one person, you create a bond that can feel like home until that home gets ripped away. What you're feeling right now isn't just sadness, it's disorientation. It's like your emotional map has been torn in half. Because in giving so much of yourself, your sense of safety got tied to them. Your boundaries blurred. Your identity began to merge with theirs. On a psychological level, intimacy, especially when it's both physical and emotional, creates powerful chemical bonds in the brain. Oxytocin, dopamine, and serotonin, those feel-good chemicals flood your system during moments of closeness. Your brain learns to associate that person with comfort, security, and belonging. The danger is, when that person leaves or changes, your nervous system doesn't know how to calm itself anymore. You're left in a state of emotional withdrawal, not because you're too weak or too sensitive, but because your body literally wired itself to them. And here's where it gets tricky. If you've been through past emotional wounds, maybe you've experienced rejection before, maybe you've had a childhood where safety wasn't consistent, your nervous system is already more sensitive to loss. This relationship, no matter how long it lasted, may have reopened those old wounds. That's why it hurts so deeply, why it feels like a piece of you has been cut away. I need you to hear this clearly. You are not broken because you gave deep. You are not too much because you cared with your whole self. The fact that you poured so much into someone doesn't make you foolish, it makes you human. It means you were willing to risk vulnerability in a world that constantly tells people to protect themselves at all costs. Yes, maybe you gave too much too soon. Yes, maybe your boundaries weren't as strong as they could have been. But those things don't define your worth. They just reveal that you have a loving, open heart. The healing ahead is not about becoming cold or shutting down. It's about learning to give without abandoning yourself in the process. Right now, your mind is probably spinning with what ifs. What if I had pulled back sooner? What if I had been less available? What if I had protected my heart better? But healing doesn't begin with what if. It begins with what is. And right now, what is that you're here, breathing, hurting, and still capable of rebuilding. It begins with acceptance. I gave so much. I'm allowed to take that energy back now. The first step in rebuilding your sense of safety is to acknowledge that the safest place you can ever create is inside yourself. Because when your safety is rooted in you, it can't be taken away by anyone else's choices. That means we start small, not with huge life changes, not with grand declarations of independence, but with tiny intentional acts that tell your mind and body, I am safe here, I belong here. Practical emotional reconnection. Step 1. Step 1 is to reclaim your physical space. I'm not just talking about decluttering or moving furniture. I mean creating an environment that reflects you, not you and them. When you've shared a space with someone emotionally, even if you didn't live together, your surroundings often carry their fingerprint. Maybe it's a sweater they once wore that's still in your drawer. Maybe it's the playlist you both listened to. Maybe it's the habit of making coffee the way they liked it. These things seem small, but they keep your nervous system in a loop, constantly triggering memories that make healing harder. So you start by clearing space, not to erase them from your history, but to make room for the version of you that exists outside of them. Step 2. Rebuilding boundaries from the inside out. Boundaries aren't just about telling other people no, they're about telling yourself yes. Yes to your needs, yes to your rest, yes to your emotional safety. If your boundaries were blurred in this relationship, it's probably because you tied your worth to their happiness. You said yes when you wanted to say no. You gave when you were running on empty. You stayed silent when you needed to speak up, because the fear of losing them felt worse than the discomfort of losing yourself. Rebuilding boundaries means learning to pause before giving. It means asking, am I doing this because I want to, or because I'm afraid of what will happen if I don't? This pause, even just 3 seconds, is powerful. It shifts you from automatic, fear-driven responses to intentional, self-respecting choices. Step 3. Emotional safety rituals. Your nervous system needs evidence that you can survive without them, that you can be safe in your own company. And this doesn't happen by force, it happens through consistent, gentle practice. Maybe it's a daily walk without your phone, just noticing the world around you. Maybe it's journaling every morning, not to rehash the pain but to remind yourself of what you're learning. Maybe it's cooking a meal just for you, with care, even if no one else will eat it. These acts seem simple, but they rebuild trust with yourself. They remind your mind and body, I can meet my own needs. I can create moments of safety without depending on someone else to provide them. Right now, you might feel like you've been emptied out, like you've lost the best parts of yourself to someone who didn't know how to hold them. But here's the truth. Those parts aren't gone. They're still yours. They've just been scattered, and this chapter of your life is about gathering them back, piece by piece. The healing you're walking into isn't about becoming someone new. It's about remembering who you were before you learned to give everything away just to feel loved. You will rebuild your safety. You will strengthen your boundary. You will do it in a way that allows you to love again, without ever losing yourself in the process. You've started to reclaim pieces of yourself. Maybe you've cleared a little space in your room. Maybe you've taken one deep breath that felt like yours again. But even as you start to stand on your own, there's this question that lingers in the back of your mind. Why do I give so much in the first place? Why do you pour every ounce of yourself into people, sometimes even before you've seen if they'll pour back? Why do you hand over your heart, your time, your energy, like it's limitless, when deep down you know it costs you? The way you love didn't come out of nowhere. It's a pattern, one that was shaped by your history, your wounds, and the version of love you learned long before this person ever came along. If you grew up in an environment where love felt conditional, where you had to earn attention, affection, or approval, your brain learned a rule: to be loved, I have to give more. Maybe you were the peacemaker in your family. Maybe you learned to keep everyone happy so that things didn't fall apart. Maybe you got used to reading people's moods like it was a survival skill. And now, without even realizing it, you carry that into your adult relationship. It's not that you consciously think, I have to give everything or they'll leave. It's that your nervous system remembers the old fear, the fear that if you stop giving, you'll stop being loved. This isn't about blaming yourself for the way you love. This is about recognizing that what you've been calling selflessness might actually be self-abandonment. And that's not because you're weak. It's because your mind was trained to believe that giving is the only way to feel safe. But here's the truth. Love that demands you lose yourself to keep it isn't love, it's dependency. And dependency will always feel unstable, because deep down you know that if the giving stops, the connection might too. There's also a biological side to this. When you give, whether it's physical affection, emotional support, or even just acts of care, your brain rewards you. It releases dopamine, the feel-good chemical, and oxytocin, the bonding hormone. That's why generosity and love feels addictive. But here's the catch. If the other person doesn't give back in equal measure, your brain gets stuck in a chase. It keeps thinking, maybe if I give a little more, I'll finally feel secure. This is how you end up overextending yourself, physically, emotionally, mentally, until you're running on empty. If you want to heal for good, you can't just stop giving. You have to learn to give differently. The shift is this. You start giving from overflow, not from depletion. You give because you want to, not because you're afraid of what will happen if you don't. You give without making someone else's reaction the measure of your worth. To do that, you need 2 things. Awareness, catching yourself in the moment you're about to give more than you have. Internal safety, building a sense of worth that doesn't rely on their approval. Practical exercise, the pause before giving. Here's a practice I want you to try for the next week. Before you say yes to something, whether it's giving your time, your body, or your emotional energy, pause. even for just 3 seconds. Ask yourself, do I genuinely want to do this? Will I feel good after doing this, or will I feel drained? Am I saying yes because it's aligned with my values, or because I'm afraid they'll be upset if I say no? If your body feels tense, heavy, or pressured, that's a sign that this yes might be coming from fear, not love. At first, pausing will feel unnatural, almost wrong. That's because you're rewiring years of automatic overgiving. But over time, that pause will become your greatest tool for self-protection. Deep insight: how boundaries create real intimacy. You might think, if I set boundaries, I'll push people away. But the opposite is true. Real intimacy isn't built on constant giving, it's built on mutual respect. When you hold your boundaries, you give the other person the chance to show up for you too. You stop teaching people that your love is limitless and unconditional no matter how they treat you. And instead, you start showing them that loving you means respecting you. At the root of overgiving is often a belief that you are only as valuable as what you give. If you want to truly heal, you have to challenge that belief every single day. That might mean looking in the mirror and telling yourself, I am worthy even when I'm not doing anything for anyone else. It might mean letting someone help you, even if it makes you uncomfortable. It might mean walking away from a dynamic where you're the only one investing. This isn't selfishness, it's balance. It's learning that you deserve the same level of care you so freely offer others. You've spent so much of your life thinking that the only way to keep love is to keep giving. But what if love isn't something you have to earn at all? What if the right person, the one who truly sees you, will want to meet you halfway? In this chapter of your healing, the goal isn't to stop loving deeply. It's to love deeply without disappearing in the process. Because you can't rebuild your sense of safety if you keep handing the keys to someone else. This time you keep them. This time the home you build is inside yourself. And from that place, you'll give, but never at the cost of losing you. Won't shatter you. You won't feel like you've lost the ground under your feet, because the ground will be you. I know you've been searching for that feeling, that deep exhale, that moment when your body finally stops bracing for impact. Maybe you thought you'd find it in their arms, in the way they looked at you, in the rhythm of the way they spoke your name. And for a while you did. But the problem with making someone else your safe place is, people are unpredictable. Even good people, even loving people, they have limits, they have their own storms to weather. If your sense of peace depends on their consistency, you're building your emotional home on shifting sand. Your nervous system, the part of you that controls your stress, calm, and sense of security, learns safety through repetition. When you constantly outsource that safety to someone else, you never fully learn how to create it for yourself. That's why breakups feel like withdrawal. Your body isn't just missing them, it's missing the stability it thought it could only get from them. So the goal now isn't to stop wanting connection, it's to create a baseline of calm, safety, and belonging inside yourself, so that connection becomes something you share, not something you depend on to survive. Step 1, making your body a safe place. You can't feel emotionally safe if your body is constantly in survival mode. That means before we even talk about thoughts or self-talk, we need to talk about your physical state. When you're stressed or heartbroken, your body sends out constant alarm signals: tight chest, shallow breathing, racing heart, restlessness. And here's the thing, your mind listens to your body. If your body says we're not safe, your mind will start scanning for danger, even when there is none. So you start here, calming your body first. One simple way is the 5-5-7 breath. Inhale for 5 seconds, hold for 5 seconds. Exhale for 7 seconds. This longer exhale signals to your nervous system: we are safe now. Do this a few times a day, especially when you feel that wave of panic or emptiness coming. Step 2, emotional grounding rituals. Internal safety isn't built in one big moment. It's built through small, repetitive actions that remind you, I can handle this. Here are a few grounding practices. The name game. Look around the room and name 5 things you can see, 4 things you can touch, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, and 1 thing you can taste. This pulls your mind out of spiraling thoughts and into the present moment. Safe object. Keep a small item, a stone, a piece of jewelry, a note to yourself that you hold when anxiety spikes. As a physical anchor to safety, consistency anchors. Do one small thing at the same time every day. Making tea, stretching, journaling. Your brain begins to associate that action with stability. Step 3. Learning to self-soothe. When you've relied on someone else to calm you down, self-soothing can feel strange at first, almost like you're faking it. But it's a skill, and like any skill, it gets stronger with practice. Self-soothing can look like speaking to yourself the way you wish they would have spoken to you in your lowest moments. Placing a hand on your heart and saying, "I know this hurts, but I'm here for you." Listening to music that grounds you, not just distracts you. It's about creating the voice, the presence, the energy you use to depend on others. Step 4. Rebuilding your identity. One of the reasons you felt so lost when they left is because so much of your identity was wrapped up in us. Now you get to rediscover you. This isn't about forcing hobbies or reinventing yourself overnight. It's about getting curious again. What kind of mornings feel best to you? What music feels like your soundtrack? What clothes make you feel most like yourself? What kind of people make your energy rise instead of drain? As you explore these, you'll start to notice something. Your sense of self will begin to feel solid again. Not because you've filled the space they left, but because you've remembered that the space was yours all along. Step 5. Building safety through boundaries. You can't feel safe with yourself if you keep letting people treat you in ways that hurt you. Every time you hold a boundary, you're telling yourself, "I will protect you." And the more you do it, the more your nervous system learns that you're not helpless. You're in charge of your own well-being. Boundaries don't have to be aggressive or dramatic. They can be as simple as, "I can't talk right now. I need some time. I'm not comfortable with that. That doesn't work for me." At first, your voice might shake, you might feel guilty, but with every boundary you hold, you re-inner safety. Here's what I want you to remember. Safety is not a gift someone else can give you. It's a home you build inside yourself, brick by brick, choice by choice. And when you build that home, love stops being a place you have to run to feel whole. It becomes a place you choose to go because you're already whole. When you can be your own safe place, the fear of losing someone doesn't control you anymore. You'll still love deeply, you'll still open your heart, but you'll know, without a doubt, that even if they leave, you will still be standing. You've started to feel the ground beneath you again. It's not perfectly steady, not yet, but it's there. And maybe for the first time in a long time, you're realizing safety isn't just something other people give you. It's something you can give yourself over and over, every single day. But here's where another fear often creeps in. What if I open up again, and it all falls apart the same way? It's a real fear, because once you've been hurt deeply, especially after giving so much of yourself, your mind becomes a protector. It whispers, "Don't risk it, don't trust, don't love like that again." The challenge is, if you listen to that voice too much, you don't just avoid pain, you avoid love, connection, and possibility too. I know why you hesitate, because last time you didn't see it coming, you thought you were safe, and then the ground gave way. And you promised yourself, never again. But there's a difference between never letting anyone close enough to hurt you, and never letting anyone close enough to love you. Healing isn't about building higher walls, it's about building better gates. Deep insight. The myth of "I have to be fully healed first." Here's something that might surprise you. You don't have to be completely healed before you trust again, because healing isn't a finish line, it's a way of living. Waiting until you feel zero fear before opening up again is like waiting for the ocean to be perfectly still before going for a swim. It's never going to happen. Instead, you learn how to wade in with awareness. You take the tools you've built, safety, boundaries, self-worth, and you bring them with you into connection. Step 1. Trust yourself before you trust them. The mistake most people make is thinking trust is about them. It's not. It's about you. If you don't trust yourself to walk away when something feels wrong, if you don't trust yourself to speak up when you're uncomfortable, no amount of trustworthiness from someone else will feel safe. So you start here. Trust that you will honor your boundary. Trust that you will notice red flags and not explain them away. Trust that you will not abandon yourself to keep someone else. When you believe in your own ability to protect yourself, other people's behavior doesn't have the power to destabilize you as much. Step 2. Pacing your vulnerability. One of the reasons heartbreak hits so hard is because you gave everything up front. You handed over your heart in one big moment instead of letting them earn it piece by piece. Healthy trust isn't about withholding love, it's about letting someone meet you at each level of intimacy before you go deeper. It's like climbing stairs together. You don't jump from the first step to the last. You move up one at a time, making sure each step feels solid. That means, share parts of yourself slowly. Notice how they respond to your needs. See if they respect your boundaries before you hand over more. If they show you they can't handle you at the first steps, you save yourself from falling at the top. Step 3. Watch what they do, not just what they say. Words can feel comforting. I care about you, you can trust me, I'm not like the others. But trust isn't built on words, it's built on consistent action. Ask yourself, do they follow through on what they promise? Do they respect your boundaries even when it's inconvenient for them? Do they make space for your feelings, or only when it benefits them? If someone's actions and words don't match, believe the actions, every time. Step 4. Keep your own life full. One of the biggest mistakes you can make when starting to trust again is to make that new person your whole world. When your happiness, purpose and self-worth are spread across different areas of your life, friendships, passions, routines, you're less likely to lose yourself in one connection. This also makes you more discerning. When your life is already fulfilling, you're less tempted to hold on to someone who isn't treating you well just because you're afraid of being empty without them. Step 5. Redefine what love means to you. You've been through a kind of love that required you to give so much that you lost yourself. Now you get to choose a different kind. Love, at its healthiest, should feel like safety. You can be yourself without consistency. You know where you stand, not because they're perfect, but because they show up. Mutual effort, you both give, you both receive. Respect, your boundaries are honored without question. When you start from this definition, you'll recognize sooner when something isn't love at all, it's attachment, control, or dependency wearing love's clothes. Trusting again isn't about erasing the memory of what happened. It's about taking what you've learned and using it as protection and permission. Protection, because you now know how to keep yourself safe. Permission, because you no longer have to hold yourself prisoner to the past. You are not the same person you were when you gave everything away without a safety net. You are wiser, you are steadier, and you carry the kind of strength that makes trusting again not a gamble but a choice you get to make on your terms.